We are a house divided. We are a divided people. The sooner that we accept that, the sooner we can decide what side we're on and what it is that we're going to fight for. In today's program, I'm going to play the clip of Ted Cruz from 2 nights ago when he prevailed in Iowa to prove a point. But first, I want to hear from a legend in the conservative movement, Phyllis Schlafly. She is a theocentric conservative. And the conservative movement, as you're about to see, has departed from what she fought for and is now nowhere near the image and does not embrace the purposes that it once held. Let's watch.
Breitbart News here at SiriusXM, the Patriot Channel 125, Breitbart Television, live broadcasting from the National Security Action Conference across the street from CPAC. We're now honored to be joined by one of the lions of the conservative movement, Phyllis Schlafly. Mrs. Schlafly, why would you take your time to come to a conference that was a spinoff of CPAC, since these topics are not being covered by main CPAC?
Well, I've been with CPAC since the very beginning. In fact, I think I was one of the founders of it. And they did invite me early, but I think there's some subjects that we're not covering. And so I'm very glad to support this group to put some other issues before the students who are coming to this conference.
Why do you think the CPAC, which is founded by grassroots conservatives, founded by organizations like Eagle Forum, that speaks to the grassroots, that's there one time a year to come together, why do you think so many things like right to life, pro-life, amnesty, terrorism, why do you think there's 20 or 30 panels that now have to be accommodated with spin-off groups like this?
Well, I think a new regime has taken over, and I think they belong to the people who are the money group in the Republican Party, and the ones who think they don't want to talk about social issues. They only want to talk about money issues. And that's a very great mistake, because it is the social issues that are driving the money issues. That's where we're spending the money. And we need to talk about all those issues. And I think it's very unfortunate that they're not being adequately covered in the CPAC conference.
From when you first got involved as an activist, you have fought the establishment, the Rockefeller Republicans, tooth and nail. So it really has changed. But can you walk people through the arc of that? Has things really changed, or has the establishment always been trying to just get rid of have the grassroots, as I said this morning in my talk, just shut up and sit down?
Well, I'm meeting people every week who just read A Choice Not an Echo, my 1964 book, which basically posed the issue between the establishment and the grassroots. And they're all saying, it sounds like today. It's the same fight, the establishment against the grassroots. And they have different goals and motives. And I think, as we proved, the grassroots can win if they get together and make up their mind to do it.
Mr. Schlafly, one last question. Breitbart News, as you know, we have a very young demographic. A lot of young people come to our site all the time on the internet. What would you say to those people to inspire them to hang tough?
Well, I think if they would study our fight against the Equal Rights Amendment, when we had everybody against us. I mean, 3 presidents, 3 first ladies, all of Congress, every governor, the media, Hollywood, and we beat them all. And it's a very inspiring tale for how the grassroots can rise up and defeat all the powers that be.
One last thing for young people. Where do you get your energy from?
Well, I guess you only live once, and I enjoy politics. I enjoy the fight of it, and it's more fun to win than lose.
I have to say, you're one of the great living American patriots. It's an honor for us to have you here. It was an honor for us to make the film about you. And as you know, the readership of Breitbart considers you one of the great leaders of our country.
Well, thank you. We need news people who put out the truth instead of the packaged truth that the strategists have written.
God bless that woman, 91 years old, still articulate, still mobile, still active. Please, Lord, I would love to have that many years and that kind of mental prowess and physical mobility. She's a great lady, and she has been an encouragement to me at different points in my life. We're divided, and the moneyed class of the Republican establishment has, in effect, co-opted the folks at CPAC. I spoke at CPAC in a fairly big address, oh my goodness, maybe 22 years ago, some 21, 22 years ago. And I stood up there and I quoted from the Ten Commandments. And I said, if we do not have a God-centered worldview, and if it does not serve as the foundation for our political agenda, then all we are as are secular humanists. We're just conservative secular humanists, that's all. That phrase, secular humanists, was a big buzzword in the 80s and early 90s. And I really ticked off people in that room. Never been invited back to speak. Never been invited back to speak. Because I dared to put my finger on the essence of the issue. That if we do not self-consciously embrace a theocentric, God-centered understanding of law, of life and liberty, then where are we going? We live under the dictates of the Supreme Court, the tyranny of the majority. I've got to take a break. I want to play Ted Cruz's clip again. Good clip. For those of you who missed it last night, you're going to enjoy it. For those of you who didn't see it, it's worth seeing a second time. But I want you to pick up the tension that he's walking in. At one part, he's saying we have to be God-centered, Judeo-Christian. He's quoting the Bible. But then on the other side, he's saying America has spoken. No, Senator Cruz, America has not spoken. A small fraction, 26% of the Republicans in Iowa have spoken. That's not America. That's a slice of a slice of a slice. And congratulations, you won them, but it does not reflect the fact of how bitterly divided this country is. I'll be right back.